Okay, so on to our next story. We will talk about Polymarket joining with X or Twitter, whatever you call it. They both are, well, Polymarket came out this week saying they are leveraging Twitter's Grok to do market analysis on their platform. This is a post from XAI, and it says XAI partners with Polymarket to blend market predictions with X data and Grok's analysis. Hardcore truth engine, see what shapes the world. This is just the state of our partnership with Polymarket, more to come. Sometimes I feel like the way this tweet was made is it came from someone who talks like Elon. I see some of their text, some of their phrases kind of be the same, so I don't know if it's just Elon who uses the X
Maybe they fed
account
it
or
into
something.
Grok and was like, "Hey, write this like Elon would write it."
Yeah, that's also a very possibility. So this is actually a great post because it kind of does a demo on how the platform would do, or what this new partnership manifests in the Polymarket platform. So if you have not used Polymarket before, just a very brief TLDR. Polymarket, it's an actual on-chain or on the blockchain prediction website where you can make money by trading shares for yes or no predictions. So if you can buy a yes for a quote, you're actually buying a position, and when that position resolves, you actually cash out or you lose money if you lose. So it actually tells you how much money you would win if you bet X amount of money. I think it's a very clean, very intuitive platform, especially it being on the blockchain, so you can always verify in real time what happens. Kind of like being able to verify transactions on the blockchain with Bitcoin, for instance. So in any case,
And it's still not available in the United States, right? Like it's just you have to VPN to do it because that's the interesting
yeah,
part for me is that AIX is objectively an American market thing, but the poly market's still not available in the United States because of gambling regulations or crypto regulations. I'm unclear on why it's not available here.
yeah. So very quick TLDR. So by the way, Polymarket is backed by Peter Thiel. So Polymarket's pretty big in that sense too.
Okay.
Yeah. So Peter Thiel backed Polymarket. I don't know what that deal looked like, how much money he got, but um, in 2021, I believe they actually had to pay a fine to the SEC for like somewhere in the realm of a million point 15 or something, because what they were doing was not to the standard of the previous SEC administration. So, I mean, big surprise. So as a result, they don't allow people to use Polymarket in the US, but people still use it with a VPN. So, I mean, that's just the data. And you can find this kind of data on the internet. So, you can always verify that. But in any case, if you look at the video here, I'm not going to play any audio, but I'm going to mute the audio on my end. But this is generally how the platform looks like. Here, you can see the timeline, and you can actually see a Twitter feed, and you can use Grok in the platform to do like an analysis on the situation. So I haven't used Polymarket yet, like today or with this update. So I can't tell you how it is from firsthand. But based on this demo, I don't know if it's something that is going to be rolling out soon if it already hasn't. But I think it's amazing. Like I've used Polymarket before, and it's very clean, it's a very clean experience. It tells you what you're getting yourself into, and I like that. I think this is going to improve user experience and just the overall amount of traction for the platform. People are
Yeah,
going to.
it's like Bloomberg meets or Bloomberg Terminal meets ChatGPT meets Vegas. Like it's open, it's
It's a good point.
decentralized. The the part that I find really interesting. It's using data from Twitter, which is with all of Twitter's problems, all of X's problems, it's still the watering hole for news and information. Like even as people flocked away, more and more people are coming back to it because it does provide it. It's like you know, could you imagine, like as the Trump, like will Trump win the elections? Like if it had this market data and it could kind of say, hey, what's happening, and adjust that, give people all this data. Like Robinhood. I think if you pay for Robinhood Gold, you get Morningstar data
I pay Robinhood Gold, and yeah, I think you do. You just need to
yeah.
configure it somewhere in the app.
Yeah, so you get like data there. Like for prediction markets right now, there's been nothing. So having prediction market that's on chain that also has not just a static source of data, you can kind of go and read all the sentiment that's happening. Now, I think the one problem that you're going to have is Twitter is leaning much more like conservative in recent years. So could it dilute the data and you kind of like get the wrong thing? Now, the right now Twitter has not been wrong as a place. It kind of predicted Trump. It kind of predicted a bunch of stuff happening. So it seems to be right now the right source of data, but at some point it could be the wrong source when things kind of flip the other way.
I agree. So I think now that you mentioned predicting Trump's victory, I think that's what you said, right? Like Twitter being able to predict it. It actually also was in par with Polymarket, because you would look at, if you guys remember the state of the elections in November this last year, you would see on traditional media saying that Kamala was actually the prospective winner. They had all this data, they had all these charts and percentage numbers saying that she was actually going to win by a landslide. But you look at Polymarket and it's actually just, not only in Polymarket, but you would see the kind of feed and FUD or just coverage on Twitter, and it was a lot more leaning towards Trump. Even Polymarket made it so Trump would win at a very close margin that was similar to the actual outcome of the elections. So Polymarket, its reputation increased tenfold since then, and I actually have some numbers for you guys today. So this is Shane Copeland. He's the founder and CEO of Polymarket, and this is a post he made back in December 3rd, 2024, saying Polymarket not so niche anymore. And this is SimilarWeb, saying, or kind of just highlighting some of the visitors over the last 28 days from as of November 22nd of 2024. They had almost 50 million visitors, which I know you and I were talking about SimilarWeb previously at some point, saying how not knowing how they get their data exactly.
Yeah, like I think a lot of their data is kind of like how Alexa used to do it before Alexa was an Amazon product. They use aggregate like upstream providers, level 3, AT&T, stuff like that. But I did do a search, and we've talked about this a little bit before, is like Polymarket in size comparative to a Robinhood, Coinbase, like even a DraftKings, Kalshi, all of them. It's like relatively small. Like Robinhood, does 14.9, so practically 15 million monthly active users. DraftKings has about 4.8 million active users, whereas Polymarket reports about 314,000 active monthly users. They're the only platform that actually provides daily active users, and this is, I think, an interesting metric, is there's 55,000 active daily users, which really signals a high usage of the platform. For 314,000, that's monthly active, and then you have 55,000. You've got a really big early adopter kind of bundle. But then when you look at total registered users, and this is like, these are all estimates, I'm sure, based on like earnings and everything. But Robin has 25.2 million funded accounts. DraftKings has 10.1 million active bettors. And Polymarket has 4.1 registered wallets. So
4.1
there's
million.
There's a big difference between 25.2 to the Robinhood's 15 million active users. Like small margin there. DraftKings 10 million active bettors, only 5 million of them roughly active every month. But 4.1 million wallets to only 314,000 active users. It just kind of shows like there's probably a portion of that people out there that sign up just don't really use it, and then there's a really big tech adopter. I think if Polymarket could get regulatory approval in the United States again, they could be massive, but also everyone Sherlocked them. Robinhood has a predictions market. I think it's run by Kalshi too.
Robinhood. Yeah, actually, they did roll it out around the same time of the elections, because I think it was Polymarket and then Kalshi, the ones that were, Polymarket was mostly just promoting it on Twitter, and then outside, like on fucking Fox News, anything that you would watch, it was Kalshi. So, and then Robinhood came out.
And they're using Kalshi, right?
Yeah. So most people here in the U.S. use either Kalshi or Robinhood. I had some friends who were making bets on the elections with with Robinhood actually. So it was like dollar bits or something. But yeah.
Yeah, but it just like even though Polymarket is a large draw, I think most people are using it for the like market prediction to kind of go see sentiment on out there versus like actually betting. And I think that's going to be their hardest part in the end is like they're like Reddit. You know, Reddit was the front page of the internet, but most Reddit people weren't actually Redditing. There was a small portion of people that actually did, and then everybody else just kind of came in and was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to read it, use it as information. It's great. Polymarket having all their stuff publicly accessible, I think, is their draw because it is pretty good market data of sentiments, what's happening, but how do you get more people active? How do you grow that? Because even though they're the biggest on the list, they're relatively small comparative to Coinbase and Robinhood, DraftKings and Kalshis and everything. I'm kind of surprised The Economist popped up on there. And then I've never visited
The Economist?
Real Clear Politics at all.
Me neither. I hardly even know any of these. Like Predicted, The Economist, Betfair, I've never heard of them. Or I have heard of The Economist, but like Real Clear Politics, I haven't. I'm surprised. I think Polymarket is the first and only on-chain prediction marketplace right now, as far as we know. So maybe someone else is building a Polymarket competitor. I don't know. But so this is the data as of December 3rd, 2024. So he actually, Shane came out early this week actually doing a comparison. So, this is from June 13th. It's surreal just how big Polymarket has gotten. And even on May, as of, not a very trendy month May has been. It looks like they have about 15.9 million visits, and Robinhood having 37.1 and Coinbase 34.7. So Polymarket is number 3 in this chart. And then number 4 is DraftKings, and then FanDuel, Betfair, Kraken, and so on. So crypto seems to be kind of trending. I wonder what the prompt or what kind of list he curated. I don't know if it's like as far as crypto-based websites that had this kind of visits or what. I'm seeing Kalshi predicted though.
Lump them into any sort of, I don't know. That's really interesting. Yeah, like I wonder what SimilarWeb is grouping these together because they don't really group unless you just put them together on a list. Because like Pump Fun, 5.5 million. It's kind of small. Like I would have thought it was bigger. Also, Kraken, going public and only being at 7.4 million. Like that's that they're small. Granted they're European initially, but small for that. Like man, even Kalshi like being 1.4, like. Some of these have apps and stuff. Like, is this aggregating Coinbase's traffic for the app? Does it have all that? It brings a lot of questions into there. Like, I'm not doubting that, again, Polymarket is a destination for people to view. I just don't know if usage is representing visits. Like, I think there's a lot of people that go, oh, hey, let's check Polymarket, see what that is. Because it's easier than being like, hey, do you have Robinhood or this and that? You can just go to Polymarket, unsigned in, look at what's happening and see what bets that people are making, and then you dip. Whereas Robinhood, you sign up, you're like in the app, you're registered account to actually have to see all of that.
Yeah, I actually like how Polymarket has, if you go into their website, you can actually view like any trend, any predictions that are trending. You go into one of them, you can actually see like a social feed where people are talking about it. They're just anonymous accounts because you don't need to put your actual information there, like your name and stuff. You can just create an account, start leaving comments. A lot of people use actually Twitter interchangeably by leaving like links, or they use some news outlet like New York Times, Washington Post, you name it, as far as leaving relevant content or real-time news that is happening according to whatever prediction. So it's really fascinating. Shane Copeland is trying to position this as a new kind of media where it is a neo kind of media. People are no longer using traditional media like Fox News, CNN, NBC, you name it. they're now going online on certain things, like I guess in this case Polymarket, to see what's actually trending, what are people's views. People oftentimes put their money where their mouths are, so I think that's a powerful tool.
Yeah. I think that's really right. Like, you can kind of see what's happening out there. I don't love this rise of like gambling and betting that's normalized. I think
Yeah.
there's a portion to it that's a very dangerous game that we're playing with markets and just like world politics and social contracts that we've always done. Like, if you can bet on it, only a small portion of people that actually bet in the world really end up making money.
Yeah.
So, like, the sports betting I find worse than the market betting, but
Yep.
it is a really interesting thing because Polymarket was right about elections. They were right about a lot of stuff, and they people's sentiment, and also as you get closer, people's sentiment like they all consolidate to one area. So as people start to talk about it, like, it's huge. Like, if they can use the data from X to actually feed the prediction market and like not only put it in there, but put a like a marker of like, hey, what does X think? Like, is X leaning towards this is right or is this wrong? That would be really interesting to see because, again, so far Polymarket has been relatively right in a lot of stuff, and then there has been some like high profile cases where it was just like totally wrong.
Yeah, I predict, my theory is that a lot of inside traders also use Polymarket, so that actually gives us sometimes a glance at what actually is happening in the inside. So, we've seen that happen. Polymarket even uses it as some of their ads, where some guy just joined their account, made a $1 million bet, and then they walked out with $2 million or something. So they knew something, because nobody just goes in there and leaves a big bet like that, expecting to come out with and come out on the other side of the tunnel with a big return. So that was very much intentional. So I think it's really interesting we get to see that at first hand. But yeah, I'm not surprised that now Twitter and Polymarket are coming together in a partnership.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the future. We'll cover here at Social Ledger Report.